Well, Venezuela has very traditional gender roles. In general, women are in charge of the house and the children. Even if they work outside the home, they're still mainly responsible of the house and the children.
Every woman knows what to expect at a certain point in their lives, and men do too.
I mean, if you can't cook, what's wrong with you?
I would describe them as traditional. You know, my mother, I guess, worked before I was born, you know, for a few years when they were just starting their family, and then she stopped working, and she didn't start working again until we moved here. So for my formative years, my mom was the traditional stay-at-home mom. She cooked 3 meals a day for her husband and her children, and you know, she took care of the home.
Definitely my mom cooking, cleaning, doing all of those things, and my dad working, you know, making the money, bringing it home, things like that.
Growing up, I never heard of anyone's mom staying home. That doesn't happen. I mean, my mom had me, she went to work very quickly. But they definitely do all the housework, all the cooking.
She always likes to say that she's the one that raised us, not my dad, because my dad brought the money, but he wasn't really around. I don't know that that's fair to say, because he was around. I mean, he would come to our soccer games or volleyball games.
I mean, my father will say it to this day, like, he wasn't really that involved in our development. You know, she was the nurturer, she still is. He was the breadwinner, he still is. And that's the way that it always was.
And my dad, who was very traditional, you know, he handled the money. He never gave my money. My mom never had a checkbook or a credit card. He would hand her all this, you know, money, and she would organize them in envelopes. This is the money to pay school. This is the money to pay the maid. This is the money for groceries. That's how I grew up, with her organizing money, real Bolivares bills into little envelopes.
I think our roles were decided at a very young age. They put me and my sister at a bilingual school that focused more on language arts and languages in general. And they put my brother in an all-boys school that focused more on science and math. So from the get-go, there were expected career paths from us.
My brother definitely had more freedom and things like that. Him being the boy and being older, he was allowed to play soccer. I was not, because it was a boy sport, things like that. Yeah, he got lucky on that one, I think.
I always felt that I was like, that I would think differently from what my mom would say, but I couldn't identify it as a gender role issue. I just couldn't. It was only when I started, you know, growing up and having my own family, and then definitely when I came to the US and was exposed to a different culture, and also I went to school, to graduate school, that I started diagnosing what was wrong and why I had felt my whole life slightly asphyxiated in Venezuela.
Parents tried to, they were very Vietnamese, so that whole culture they brought with them, and it's more where like the woman is not lesser, but kind of lesser, and I just did not agree with that whatsoever. So I think that in American culture it's more equals, and I was like, yes, I like that.
You know, in Russia there are men and there are women, and they do very different things and they behave very differently. And that's one aspect of Russian culture that I don't particularly like, and I'm happy to not be that way.
I think it is different. I think there is here, it is not unheard of that, you know, moms and dads take turns at some things. But it could be better. That the mother is the main responsible for the household and the children is still there. That's why most women here go through that, you know, we have the second shift. But I think it is better here.
There's more liberty, I think. I like to think that you can define your own role. I mean, in your own relationships, I don't think you have to be, you have to put it in a box. I'm sure that some people are happy, but the fact that there isn't an option, I think, is what gets me. I want to have that option.
That will be different than from what I saw from my parents. I mean, I do love to cook and things like that. I hate cleaning, so hopefully he will love to clean. But I don't think that it's going to be one of those situations where my mom was expected to do all of those things. He better not expect me to do all of those things.
I don't think it's, I just don't like assigning Russian way, American way, but I'm very independent. If I get married, great, I'd like to, but no, the first priority is my studies, my career, and no question about that. And if I have kids, then, you know, I would expect whoever I have them with to do an equal part in taking care of them.
It's interesting because now I'm a 33-year adult. Now I live with 2 men because my little brother is living here too, you know, and I 100% feel that like obligation or that need to like take care of my family. But, you know, you battle with it because I also went to college and got a master's and have worked since I was 13 and always wanted to be an entrepreneur in some sense. And, you know, juggling those 2 roles of being a breadwinner myself and wanting to make a lot of money and wanting to have a very successful career, but also wanting to like create a home and be a homemaker. I don't know how you do it all. Venezuela está orgullosa de tu grandioso destino.